Can't see birds.
Yeah, didn't say.
Came out of the sky.
Welcome to the June 30th meeting, Raleigh County Commissioners. When we join the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments, Ms. Brad? Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here on behalf of the Reach Committee to honor the person that was nominated for the July Employee of the Month. I'll read here what the person who nominated him said. It says, over the course of my 30-year career, I seldom run into a manager who works as hard or displays as much dedication to a company as Alvin Perez. Because of his many years of knowledge and strong construction abilities, Alvin saves Riley County a great deal of money each year. Recently, under his supervision, our bridge crew constructed a new bridge over Wildcat Creek, building it from the ground up. In 2020, they built and completed our new construction lab building. These are only a couple of Alvin's impressive accomplishments. Not only is he a great leader, Alvin also takes the time to mentor and empower his staff by carefully guiding them to the best versions of themselves. Alvin brings a high level of expectation to his crew to be efficient and productive, which in turn brings a great value to the residents of Riley County. Simply put, because his great management skills, I believe Alvin and the staff get more work done on an average than most other counties and cities. For the reasons I've stated above, the many things I am unaware of, I feel Alvin should not only receive Employee of the Month, but the honor of Employee of the Year. So, Alvin. For you here, and also 2 movie tickets. Okay. And you get a month of art. Yeah. Same spot. So, thank you. Yeah. Appreciate everything you did.
Oh, we got to hear a speech first.
Yes, speech.
Oh, yeah.
Few remarks. Here's your chance.
Few remarks.
You're only as good as the people you work with, you know, and I enjoy what I do, and I try to do the best of my ability and serve the county well. And other than that, I don't really know what to say. It's an honor getting this, and the comments were made, so if I can just fill the shoes, okay? All right.
Sounds good.
What's that? Don't worry, the other guys in the
Back here.
Right for us. Scoot this way just a bit so we're centered it, and you push that chair just a little bit out of that. So you can
Got to get a good picture.
the chair a little bit more. So it's still in it. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
I can't.
Smile for me. Smile. All right, one more, just sort of style. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more smile. You got it. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Alvin.
Congratulations, Alvin. Well deserved.
And just like that, it empties.
He is a good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just a short one. That's all for public comments. Catherine, did you have any comments?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay.
All right, I'm here.
I'm here, but I was, hang on a second. My neighbor's cutting the grass, so, yeah, I was planning to be there, like next week, but I've been set back a little bit, which Clancy has probably told you. So, but I don't really have any other comments. I've just been I've been reviewing, a lot of documents here at home and, trying to get better and going to PT. So that's about it.
Yeah, it's been a blink and you miss it week for me. I guess Monday afternoon, we attended the June Intergovernmental Luncheon at the Bluemont Hunt Hotel. Kind of a long meeting of sorts, kind of. It was good to hear a presentation from MATC. I saw the same presentation in person, but good that they're getting the information out. It's a 2003 grad myself. I'd love to see what they're planning. I'd love to see it come to fruition at some point in time, but it's going to be it'll be interesting to see how that all unfolds. So I think it would have real value to the region if and when it gets accomplished. And it's also good to see people from Fort Riley back in person. I've seen Steve and Kelly in person before the pandemic, but kind of locked down on base. So it was good to get a chance to catch up with them on a few things and see them in person. Always good and see what everybody's working on. Obviously, for most people, it's budget season, so good to hear some comments and stuff there. And guess we'll have another one in July. So Tuesday afternoon, I attended via Zoom the June meeting of the Pawnee Mental Health Board of Directors. As usual, got an update on finances and through the Finance Committee, which I sit on in advance of the actual meeting. We were introduced to a new board member from Cloud County. We got a therapy and recovery service program update. Robin Cole gave us an executive director's report. Finance Oversight Committee also gave a report. Followed up on several votes to approve their fiscal year 2023 budget, allowing some staff positions to use the agency credit cards with some limits and some statutory requirements, and allowing the delegation of the expenditure upon these funds and reviewing and updating the bank account and signature cards and all that go along with it. Diane Hendricks gave us an update on some upcoming events and programming, including this year's Driving the Dream, which will be later on in the year. So we won't meet in July, so we'll be back late August to chat at that point in time. Yesterday afternoon, I had about a 45-minute long team call with NACO's Community Economic and Workforce Development Committee to discuss resolutions that will be coming up. There were 12 different ones that will be voted upon during next month's annual conference and exposition in Adams County, Colorado, Denver. Among those resolutions, some of them were resolutions dealing with new market tax credits, fiscal year 2023 appropriations for housing and urban development, supporting legal migration for local economies and workforce, resolution on the Creative Economy Revitalization Act. I was looking to see what that acronym was there. Nothing important, never mind. Institutional landlords and home ownership. That was an interesting discussion. Reaffirming support for Community Reinvestment Act, retaining demonstration state status, federal support to increase African-American home ownership in the United States, and lastly, Economic Development Administration reauthorization. That's a long one too. It's kind of figured into appropriations. They're kind of asking that we appropriate that through the full fiscal year moving forward. And good conversation, good dialogue. I won't be attending the conference, so I won't get to vote next month, but I'm sure they'll update us on which ones pass and which ones don't, and what they have come up with. Later yesterday afternoon, I spoke with Jade Pyros, Director of the Office of Broadband Development with the Kansas Department of Commerce. Spent some time discussing the broadband needs and the different pots of potential funding to accomplish it moving forward. Discuss some options that can hopefully work for Riley County moving forward. I've been talking about this for 3.5 years now, so I guarantee there'll be a lot more conversations here and timeline short on some of these funds that are coming through early, so we need to figure out a plan and get moving on it. We will certainly do that. So that is my week in a nutshell.
Right. Well, Monday after our meeting, John said attended the intergovernmental meeting, and had a real nice presentation from MATC and their plans for expansion. Talked about what effect they have on the community, how big of an impact it is locally and stuff. Really good presentation. Hope everything works out for them to expand. They do a great job. And then at that meeting, I had a pre-op meeting for my fingers, and then Tuesday I had a trigger finger surgery, and recovery's fine, and I've been sitting around holding this club for the last couple of days.
Is that what they actually call it? Trigger finger surgery?
It's called trigger
Tennis elbow,
finger.
but you don't really have to play tennis to get it.
Yeah, it's trigger finger, but you don't have, because it's on my left hand, so
Yeah.
it's the particular thing is trigger finger is the problem when they have to cut open something to relieve the tendon stretched in there. It's 1 inch incision and a 10-minute surgery, and then you get to wear a club for 4 or 5 days.
Fun.
Yeah. And that's all we got.
Ready for business, commissioners?
Yes.
First item, I need a motion on amending food system master plan resolution.
Okay, go ahead and make a motion that we amend the food systems master plan for Riley County and the city of Manhattan.
Catherine, you're on mute.
I'll second. Been moved and seconded to approve the amended food system master plan. All in favor? Aye.
Hi, I'm actually here. I was just moving.
Okay.
Thank you. Next, commissioners, I need a motion on the 2 tax roll corrections.
Glad those are taken care of. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve both of the 2 tax roll corrections.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the 2 tax roll corrections. All in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Chairman, please. Next, I need a motion to approve accounts payable and payroll.
Make a motion, we approve accounts payable and payroll.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve payroll and accounts payable. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioners, we do have upcoming Good Morning Manhattan on Thursday, July 21st. It's Zoom again. Would all of you like to attend via Zoom and the regular breakfast thing?
Sounds good to me.
Catherine, you included? That's July 21st.
Muted, so.
You're muted again.
I should be available by then. Good heavens. So, yeah. They
Nancy?
tell me.
Yes.
Please.
Sounds good. The commissioners have any changes to the minutes?
No.
Get a motion on the minutes if there are changes.
On number six, item 16, I got a couple.
Okay, let me get there then. Greg, yeah.
Was there an amendment? Or-
I'm gonna bring it up and Greg's gonna have a couple corrections.
Said 16.
16?
Yeah.
With you.
Now about the fourth one where it says Hensler stated proposal for 90 days, 20 hours, and for a period of 20 days at the end.
For a period of what?
At the end, you said, at the last bit, it says 90 days at the start.
Oh,
and then at the end
gotcha.
it says 20 days.
Gotcha. 20 hour work from home. Okay, so
Yeah, it
just,
looks like it
just put a period after work from home.
Yeah, I
Does
think
that make
so.
sense?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Looks like it
Good
started
catch.
something and then
Good
changed.
catch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
You
then
spelled out period instead of just using. it.
Yes.
we'll change your name.
Thanks for bailing me out somehow.
Under 17. About the sixth one, Kinley
Uh-huh.
said the price of the lots, and I said not said the lot, said the price of the building. The building and architects seem
Gotcha.
large.
Sounds good.
The lots seem pretty reasonable.
Gotcha.
All right. That's what I had.
I'll go ahead and then make a motion. We approve the amended version of the minutes from the June 27, 2022 Raleigh County Commission meeting.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the amended minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, the tentative agenda, look, commissioners. Any items for the press conference in 2 weeks? I will be on there for election stuff. Next, we have Mr. Holman at 9.
Oh.
Right.
Change the name of the paper. Change the name of the paper. Person Bright Mercury.
There you go.
Last 2
I
days.
like that.
All 4 things on the front page are his.
I like that. I'll go for that.
Yeah, I thought so.
A young entrepreneur, he could take over the paper.
My shoulder bothers me, but I think when they had me in, they twisted me around.
You want rotator cuffs next?
You know, my shoulders.
Been there, done that. That's a fun one.
Yeah,
It's a fun one.
I have bursitis in there, which they say inflammation.
Say, now that's a cool name, bursitis, but
Yeah.
trigger finger.
Yeah, that's
Gotta come up with something better. Something official. not tennis elbow, 95% of the people who get it probably never play tennis.
Well, that's.
Oh, for sure.
Trigger thing. It isn't anybody that's. I guess the first person that figured it out all.
Kind of like Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
Tommy John was the first one to actually get the ailment or the surgery for that matter. Lou Gehrig's disease. Why do they have to name everything after the Yankees? Cardinals have been around equally as long, has equally good history. No, just a few. We got a few more losses though, too. Just throwing that out there. So they talk you into the dunk tank up there. I guess you've got a good excuse now.
No,
Much as he liked to.
yeah, I really like it. That's what. Taking a shot, I got it. Put a thick baggie on there and taped it around me, standing in there like.
I remember those days.
Sunday or something.
Freshman year, I broke my arm playing in football. That was in August in practice. I mean, I broke the radius bone, the one that allows your wrist. So I was in an L cast for like 9 weeks. Oh, they had to put 2 different ones on there because it grew mold. Yeah, it couldn't have itched much. No, not at all. You did the clothes hanger trick. Yeah.
What? She didn't have it for the wedding. And like they do she had, it was a wire fly swatters that handled it. She was always been like that too, except then she started her feet started turning blue. Doing that, the padding underneath, she had jammed it down and caused the constriction on her leg and had to cut it off and redo it because she jammed it down. Made it worse.
I went to a couple different hangers because like I said, it was from about here all the way L, and it's just kind of hard to get down into here and itch, So what? But I broke my arm. I broke the 2 little not boat-shaped bones in the thumb here too. Cracked both of those, and the radius bone. Football. Gonna go the full 20 minutes. I think I.
Get some rain this weekend. It's easy. Oh, we're getting so wet and it just doesn't take long to dry out.
Yeah.
Or it's parched pretty quick.
But hopefully they're using this week around the state and locally to get the wheat harvest done.
Soybeans can use the rain too.
Well, about yesterday morning, about had all the jerky meat I could have wanted.
I tell you, it was Saturday or Sunday morning. Like I were working on roofing. Well, been before 5 a.m. I was coming in, I could see this buck out in the field running my way, jogging, kind of trotting through the soybean field. And I thought, surely he's going to slow down. He can see me. Nope. And I, at the end, had to urge, and I swear I missed hitting his body. It had to be an inch. He was just right there. I was like, you saw me. He kept coming.
I could have sworn I heard a thud on mine, but there was nothing. It's just this time of the year, and I'm driving in the morning over there, out of Eureka and Wildcat Creek. It's time of the year right when the sun's coming up at 5:30. It's just really pretty some mornings like yesterday. And I just glanced over, and that's all it took. I looked over, and I swear I hit it, but not hard. But I looked at the front, was like there was nothing there, but it was a big chunky doe too. It would have been, like I said, I could have made jerky all summer with that.
I couldn't believe I didn't connect on that thing. And at the end, my tires did go dirt. Jeez.
I didn't even get a chance to hit the brake. And to be honest with you, that's not my first instinct. My first instinct is I'm going to hit it. But if you slam on the brakes, it just makes
I
it
was
worse.
going slow enough, that it was easy enough to do. And plus, I'd seen him trotting the whole way, so I was kind of slowing down. I thought, surely he's going to stop. He didn't.
The amazing thing there is usually where there's one, there's a crowd, and there wasn't on this one. So I don't know.
So was yours wearing real thick glasses?
I missed that part. He definitely couldn't see very well.
Yesterday afternoon, we were home. And Untitled Creek out just past the outpost and drove along and I saw this tire come bouncing down off of the road. Jams out and slowed down. And then all of a sudden, look, there's a car off the ditch over on this side. So we stopped. She said the left front of her car was all smashed up. She said this tire fell off the back of a pickup or a truck or something. So all of a sudden there's a tire coming down the road and I couldn't go anywhere, this car, and hit the car and drove her off the ditch. She had 2 little kids in the back. And evidently when she hit the tire, it must have rolled it up because then it was coming back down the hill with us and it was late. So we stopped and went over there and got out of the road and she called the police and they came out. She called her husband to come and get it, but it smashed the heck out of the front of the car. So where the tire came from, just obviously it didn't roll off because there wasn't another car.
Because someone we all know, her sister died from exactly that happening on the highway.
Just like I don't know if it's spare laying on the back of it. It's flatbed trucks bounced off.
It's time, commissioners.
Yeah. You didn't have anything else in advance, did you? Okay. I would move that the county commissioners, including Chairman McKinley, Vice Chair Foki, and Commissioner Ford, along with Elizabeth Ward, Human Resource Manager, and Clancy Holman, County Counselor, Attorney for the Commission, recess into executive session pursuant to the non-elected personnel matters exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act for the purpose of discussing a performance matter of non-elected personnel and to protect the privacy of the employee, with the open meeting to resume in the County Commission chamber at 9:20 a.m.
I would second that.
And moved and seconded to go into executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
So we're waiting on something from IT here.
IT, you got to take care of?
Yeah, we
Sure
do.
do. You just have to hit join there, Clancy. Thanks, sir.
down there, it's not on mute.
We'll go ahead and move that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to come out of executive session. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Also, move that the record reflect no binding action was taken during the executive session.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded, no binding action is taken. All in favor?
Aye.
Expenditures time for Robin Cole.
Morning. It's good to see you all. Looks like you've got a busy day ahead of you, so I'll get that started. I'm very excited to report that this week, we received notice from the Dean Kokenauer Trust of a $25,000 grant award for our Ag AP program. Dean Kokenauer was the president of Ag Press, and so was very much interested in and involved with agricultural issues. Our Ag AP program is an assistance program. It's similar to employee assistance programs that many of us are familiar with. This Ag AP program is for farmers and ranchers and their family members or people who work for them to be able to access mental health care up to 3 free sessions per issue per family member per year. So this $25,000 grant from the Dean Kokenauer Trust will be seated at the Greater Manhattan Community Foundation, and we'll have the opportunity then over time to build it and to use it to help provide sustainable mental health care for the farmers and ranchers and their employees in our 10-county service area. So we're very excited about that. We also received notice of an award by Cadets. This was an award for, or that came from COVID relief money. The award was $127,147. It was a part of the Cadets Workforce Incentive Program. So the purpose of this program is to be able to recruit and retain home and community-based service providers and their immediate supervisors. So the opportunity isn't extended to all of our employees, but the opportunity to participate in this workforce incentive program is extended to our staff, such as case managers, residential mental health technicians, those employees who work with the most severely mentally ill adults and children who have serious emotional disturbances. The funds that are part of this award may be expended through March 31st of 2023. For eligible employees, it funds up to $2,000 as retention bonus, and that would be for existing full-time employees, and up to $1,500 for recruitment bonuses for full-time employees, and up to $750 recruitment bonuses for part-time employees. It also provides an administrative payment and then other withholding payments to help cover the additional costs that would be incurred to Pawnee Mental Health for all of the newly onboarding employees or for those who are retained. So I'm hopeful that we'll see that this will have a positive impact on our ability to recruit and retain employees for our community-based services programs. We also recently applied for a certified community behavioral health grant from SAMHSA. That grant is worth up to $4 million. It's $1 million a year for 4 years. The grant would help provide startup money as the agency moves from being a community mental health center to meeting the federal criteria for a certified community behavioral health center. You might remember that it was in the legislative session of 21 that the Kansas legislature approved a bill, which was then signed into law, that would essentially move all of the community mental health centers from their current status as licensed community mental health centers to certified behavioral health centers. The Certified Behavioral Health Center definition is a federal definition. It expands the role of community mental health centers from one that is primarily focused on mental and behavioral health disorders to one that really is more holistic in its approach to treatment. This was based on research that showed that mentally ill people have an average death rate that is 25 years earlier than the general population. And that is not due necessarily to the mental illness, but it's due to not receiving treatment for other co-occurring physical health disorders. So part of how Pawnee will evolve over the next couple of years is that under this certified community behavioral health model, we'll take a more proactive role in assessing the physical health needs of individuals who come to Pawnee Mental Health for mental health care. So it's an exciting time to be involved in community mental health. There have been lots of times over the years where, we've been told things like, this is one of the biggest things to happen with community mental health. I think this might actually be the time. I think this one might be the real deal. This might really be the time where we see some significant transformation to the community mental health system, partly because of the way in which these federal criteria will trickle down to Kansas and will impact all community mental health centers across the state. And partly too, because the way that we're paid for delivering Medicaid services will change. Under the certified community behavioral health model, we'll be changed we'll be paid more similarly to the way the federally qualified health centers are paid, for example. So think about Concept Health Center. They're paid based on what their costs are. We're on the Medicaid front. We're currently paid based on rates that were set in 2008. And obviously we can't provide the array of services, we can't expand services in the same way that we can when we're paid based on rates that are so old as compared to being paid rates that are based on what our costs for delivering care actually are. So as long as things move forward, as they're anticipated to move at the federal and the state level, I would expect to see that there would be some significant transformation and change in community mental health over the coming years. So we'll be watching that very closely, and I will be keeping you informed of those changes. We had a couple of really exciting things happen in our co-responder program. Two of our staff, Bryn Haverkamp, our crisis director, and Tiffany Anders, our co-responder, attended the National Co-Responder Conference. That was the first part of June. And so that's just an opportunity for them, again, to hone their skills in working with Riley County Police Department and improving the kind of response that they and our CPD have to mentally ill individuals who they encounter in the community. The very next week, RCPD, in conjunction with Pawnee Mental Health, held its first crisis intervention team training here in Manhattan. That was a training that had been in the works since 2020, and in fact, it was originally scheduled to be conducted in 2020. It is a training that really provides the tools, the skills that are needed for law enforcement, mental health providers, hospital emergency services, and people with mental illnesses and their families, really to create connections and work as well together as they possibly can for positive outcomes in the community. So it was an exciting opportunity. There were law enforcement officers from RCPD, K-State Police, Potawatomi County, were also present at this training. And so there's a real commitment in this region to improving the mental health intervention skills of first responders, so that we really can enhance and improve the way that our communities in the region respond to individuals with mental illness. So that is it's another great thing to see that happening in our area. A couple of other things that we've been working on. We are participating with Kansas State University in a research project. That project is called Physical Activity to Reduce Cardiometabolic Risk in Adults with Serious Mental Illnesses. And so that study was recently approved by K-State's Research Compliance Office, and so it will be moving forward. Clients with severe and persistent mental illnesses who are served here in Riley County will have the opportunity to participate in this program that assists them and that helps them with improving or increasing their physical activity. Again, a really fitting opportunity, especially given the increased emphasis that we're working towards with that bringing together physical health and mental health care. We also will be working with the K-State PA program. And so if you're familiar with that, Kansas State University has started a physician's assistance program. This year, they've been, the students in the PA program have all been receiving classroom-focused education. Starting in January, they'll be doing their rotations through different physical and mental health specialties. And so Pawnee Mental Health will be providing access to the students for their mental health rotations. And so we're really excited to be a part of that. It's, again, just the whole emphasis on physical health care and mental health care. It's consistent with the focus that we have with really trying to bring the two together and trying to educate these physician's assistants as they go through the program at K-State. So a lot of really exciting things that are happening, and I think that we'll see forward progress in the next couple of years as we work on this. I thought I would just mention briefly, we are closed on Monday for Independence Day. CSU, as always, is open. And so our staff will be there and they'll be prepared to respond to any mental health emergencies in the community and in our 10 county service area. We'll also have a booth at the Riley County Fair, which will be later this month, or I guess tomorrow is this month. Tomorrow starts this month. Today is last month. So we'll be at the Riley County Fair, have a booth there. We'll be giving out information to both or to members of the community. And then just in conclusion, we have 3 mental health first aid courses coming up this fall. We have a course in August, September, and October here in Manhattan. So if you're aware of anybody who would be interested in learning the sort of basic first aid skills for responding to someone with a mental illness, there will be opportunities for them to participate in this 8-hour certification course 3 different times this fall. So, any questions for me today?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
I thought there was one.
it was Lori. It wasn't
Oh,
on
that
the
was-
packet,
okay,
but she discussed it. Yeah, it wasn't in the packet that day, but she discussed it.
That's how I got it.
Daryl's gonna go over it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
You too. Have a good weekend. Next commissioners is Amanda Webb at 9:35. You guys all going up to Randolph?
I'm thinking about
And
some point in time on Saturday, yeah.
Ready, commissioners, for Amanda?
Morning, Commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director. Let me get to my map here. See what we're looking at. this one. So we have another private road naming and addressing for you folks this morning to have our required public hearing for this. This one's a little bit different because it wasn't triggered by the NG 911 committee. It wasn't one that was on our list. The situation is Mr. Willick is let me see if I can make this a little smaller. Is looking to build a home on a piece of property. And he had wanted to put his driveway, it's my understanding he wanted to put his driveway up over here somewhere. That's not possible for public works, so he's bringing it down, as you see on the map there, the red kind of driveway there that he's gonna be bringing down. So basically, because it's an existing driveway, and we're gonna have a second home off of that driveway, it's gonna turn that portion, just the shared portion, into a private road. So of course, that needs to be named, and both properties will be addressed off that new name. So you can see proposed addresses. So just to note that the existing 6262 West 59th Avenue, apparently the house burned down some time ago, so there's no house there. There are some structures there, but there is no house. Again, Mr. Willick is looking to put the house on the property to the north, which is of course currently not addressed because there's no house. Now, both of them are owned, Jared Willick and I believe Fred Willick, they own both of them. So it's kind of in the family, if you will. So just impacts the two of them. So we still went through, of course, the process that we do with the NG 911 committee when we do trigger the names ourselves. And they are proposing Prairie Falls Lane, and that was acceptable to the committee. Questions?
Question.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have to actually open up a public hearing?
If it is supposed to be a
It is,
public hearing,
yeah.
I wrote down, so you
Yeah.
just need to ask if there's any public comment.
Public comment. Public hearing. We'll close the public hearing.
Formalities. Okay, with that said, then I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve naming a private road Prairie Falls Lane and readdressing the said affected properties.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the resolution naming private road Prairie Falls Lane and assigning the addresses. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Commissioners, you have your 5 to 9:45. Gary.
Good. How are you?
Good.
Since we got 5 minutes, you got a few minutes to chat, Gary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In light of this, I'm very glad you're here.
Gonna, after her birthday, I wanted
You're on fire, crazy.
you know, dream about policies last night.
You know what I did?
I did. I did. A couple, oh, man. No. Right.
We'll see if we know it. We'll see if we put out the same thing.
Truth. Oh, you talk about the other one. Yeah. The next part. Right. Sure. Josh. I've got some things tomorrow morning. I won't be able to go to 8 o'clock, I'll get 10 o'clock. Okay. So, yeah, I'll be Zoom. Yeah. They set it up via Zoom? Yeah, and we're gonna Zoom too. Yes. Yep, thanks. Got a busy morning. Stay hydrated. Mineral water? Yeah. Yeah, I got some different flavors. Pretty good. I just hope you have that same sense of humor, John, when they cut it. I had to find. Tasmanian devil be appropriate. Bless you, Sam. Ready, commissioners? Gary.
Thank you, commissioners, Clancy, Rich. I wanted to bring to your attention that I have Lisa Brumba, who is on our executive board for the Riley County Extension Council. And she is our vice chairman and has been with us for a long time, and kids in 4-H. And so been a great extension supporter. And I just brought her along or asked her to come if she was able to. Sarah Reisner, our board chairman, was not able to be here. So the budget, as you've seen, I think we turned it in a couple weeks ago or so, is pretty well laid out. But I just want, there's a couple of things that I wanted to say before we got into that. One is that in 3 years, we're going to be celebrating 100 years, Riley County Extension. The Smith-Lever Act was passed in 1914, basically part of the land grant deal that allowed counties to have county extension councils. And then all 105 counties eventually, over time, from the late teens through the mid 30s, formed extension councils, which were actually known as Farm Bureau and Farm Bureau agents, and that was changed in 51 over the insurance thing, of course. So that's what happen there, but we're supposed to provide programming in the areas of agriculture, 4-H youth, community development, family and consumer science programs. So you're aware of that. You've heard our programs before, but I just wanted to remind you of those things. And we have an elected council of 24 people. There's 6 people in each ag, families, 4-H, and community vitality, which is what we call it now instead of economic development. And of those 24 people, when you come to our annual meeting, you see us elect 9 people to the executive board, which Lisa is on, and they basically do the governing and help hire agents as needed and approve budget monthly bills. And so we had a budget meeting, a budget committee met several weeks ago to put together the budget that you see in front of you. Now, the Extension Council law, which Clancy knows, and I think Rich knows fairly well, and maybe Commissioner Ford and McKinley too as well, is that according to the law, we present the budget that we have to you, and then you have 10 days to act on it. You can accept it, amend it, deny it, whatever you want to do, and then let us know, and then we will come back with whatever we have to do after that. And then you have, I think, another 10 days. But anyway, the budget is supposed to be filed by July the 15th. And I know you've got all kinds of time constraints and trying to figure out everything else. So I appreciate and respect the things that you have to do as well. And it's always a difficult decision. Basically, when you boil it down, our budget ask is quite a bit higher, as you've seen. We've gotten $599,645 for the past 3 years. Asking for a county appropriation this year of $671,594, which means a total budget of $790,110. We have a non-appropriated funds, receipts, and expenses, which is basically grant money in and out. When we receive money for like John's STEM program or from Kanzi United Way and Caroline Pine Foundation run VITA, that runs just in and out. So what I call the hard budget is really the subtotal. The other is just, we'll never go over that part of it, but the total budget actually be $940,110. So the biggest increase, of course, comes in the form of salaries, because that's 94 to 95% of our budget. Salaries and benefits, so employer contributions. The state of Kansas, through Kansas State University, funds so many extension positions, and you can see on the receipt line this year they upped it, I think 4.9%, but it's $72,000 is what they provide. And then they also pay for the employer share of our 403B plans for extension agents and part of our health insurance. So they contribute in a way that you don't see visibly here. But with that, knowing that we're in an inflationary time where we're at, and the cost of everything has gone up, we know that county and city salaries have been raised quite a bit, or looks like they will be. And so we would also like to reward our employees, who I think we have one of the best extension sets of agents in the state of Kansas. And I would hope that other counties recognize that as well. We don't have turnover here. We have pretty happy employees most of the time, and they've stayed here for a long time. Lynn has been here for 40 years, 46 if you include her time in the clerk's office. Sharon's been here for 35, and Brandon Bruner, our 4-H program assistant's been here for 27, I think, this year. So anyway, we've got a good crew. And so this is our budget request ask. And if you have any questions, either for me or Lisa, we'd be glad to try to answer those.
Questions can you ask? Like not appropriate funds. That's my question coming in. But
yeah,
explain what that was.
Yeah, and you know, we kind of inflate that a little bit because we never know what it's going to be. We don't know if we're going to get $100,000 grant or maybe only $10,000 grant. But again, basically, it doesn't really affect.
It's spent out.
Yes. We did receive from Greater Manhattan Community Foundation this year $5,000 for VITA. I haven't heard yet from Cons United Way. I'm sorry, 5,000 from Greater Manhattan Community Foundation and the Caroline Pine Foundation. So we do a lot of payment in kind with that. Obviously, my time and Sharon's time coordinating and trying to get everything. So that's not the full cost of the program, but it's just pick. So.
Questions?
Catherine, any questions?
No, I don't think so. I need to review it some more. It's just quite a jump, so.
I think we have to get it done today, don't we?
Not today.
No.
You actual last day, because the 10th day actually falls on a Sunday, given this presentation day, you're really gonna have till next Thursday. So.
Yeah.
Well, we won't be here
We won't be
Monday.
here Monday. So,
That's true.
You might be, but we're not.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
You can come Monday.
You can do
I
no
just
other work you want on Monday, but
I don't believe for a second you ever intended to be here Monday.
I didn't. I said I won't be here either.
All right.
I looked it over from the original presentation there, and it is quite a large jump. I agree with Commissioner Folke on this. I know that we're adding roughly 10%, in salary. So I get that part of it, but I didn't remember what the percentage was. It was way over that, but
The percentage increase attributed to personnel and benefits is 10% or 12%.
It's 12%.
The overall increase is all due to personnel costs?
No, so the increase in personnel costs on the salaries is 6.5%, and then for employee benefits is 4%.
So 10% is
Yeah.
attributed to personnel.
Right.
So the overall increase is 12%
Yeah.
asked.
We asked for a little bit more. We put a little bit more in travel budgets because of inflation and those kind of things. So
Just good to know because everyone's
yes,
impacted by
absolutely.
increased personnel costs, so it's good for the commissioners to know when they're thinking about that.
That's right.
I also know that we've kept you flat. I think every year I've been here, so that's 3 prior budgets. At least.
We did get an increase in the when I came here in 2019, and we got an increase of 4% on our 2020 budget, but so 2020, 2021, 2022 budgets were all the same, asking, and I did print out a history, and I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but in 2012, so that includes 10 years of progressive budgets, we've gone up a total of 24.7% over 10 years, so an average increase of 2.47% per year. We've had 2 or 3 years where there was no, particularly in 2018, 2019, there was no increase. And for the last 3 years, there's been no increase. Also recognize that all of our funds that you give us are from ad valorem taxes, so we understand that as well. It's a $72,000 increase, I think, just shy of, or just a little over.
Thoughts?
Tough.
I recognize that. I didn't know you led with your left hand.
Catches them off guard that way.
How do you know somebody didn't bite it?
Well, could be.
That all commissioners. Thanks,
All right,
Gary.
thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Next commissioner, you have David Adams, 10:05.
Commissioners,
There was an error in the submission for David's car. That was a previous draft. It is not correct. This will be corrected in the minutes so that the community will see. And Catherine, I can send you an email with this information David's going to speak about. It was
Okay,
old information submitted.
okay.
We don't allow human.
Human error.
Nope.
You're gonna break it?
Guess what? Now you know. Strike one.
I don't think they told us 5:30 to 9 o'clock on Wednesday.
I'm pretty sure we did. That's pretty standard.
That doesn't involve me, so I'm gonna
Pretty
stay out
sure
of that
that's
one.
standard. I'll have to go back to the recording.
I think.
Just kidding.
Even if they did, it's kind of cool.
I do it.
I thought the same thing. Yeah.
If they ask me, say, hey, can you stay and help? I do it. I think it'd be neat.
Yeah, it is. It is really interesting. It's learned so much about the process that,
Oh,
you
absolutely.
know,
Yeah, no idea.
right. Yeah.
Staff at it. Fascinating.
Mhm.
They go over.
I would never believe all the attention that I get and not saw it. Yeah, that's amazing. Every signature, every card. It's awesome. Well, we set the bar pretty high. Well, that's good. That's good conversation.
We are gonna get old.
I think they still have fun.
Yeah.
They'll say that.
Thanks for the reminder.
You okay?
Yeah. Just feeling old.
Don't say that. Don't say that. We don't accept that. Thanks.
I use that word, and you use it 4%.
Yeah. It's kind of,
It's telling you that.
every generation has their own jargon.
That's the one that you and I and Josh all came to.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll tell them it's off.
I dropped a few things.
Remind us.
Things changed.
Born in 1901. See it?
Oh, that's it.
What's that out loud? I'm sorry, Clancy. We might-
Wonder why people don't like it.
No, I know. You just don't want to admit it, right?
We've been sitting way out north.
Yeah, that's the difference.
I love you, Clancy.
See you later.
Yeah, okay. So
And with the salary, we should be- That's the difference.
Did you watch game 6 the other night, Christian? Yeah. Did you catch the
I saw the 2-1 goal and then I didn't watch it.
celebration was pretty good, particularly when they dropped and damaged the cup.
No, really?
they dropped it, yeah.
Yeah. 5 minutes into it, he was skating in to get the team photo with it, and he slipped on his skate and dropped it right on the ice. It's creased on the bottom of it now. Guy who takes care of it isn't real happy
That's what
about
I
it.
was just thinking about. I heard the interview about the guy who travels
Yeah.
the world
Yeah.
with the Stanley Cup as his
He's
own
not-
baby.
Not real happy about
I'm
that.
sure he's an interesting guy, but he was passionate about the cup. Wow.
I think got its own hotel room and flight back to Denver too.
They said they fly with that 300 days a year they're traveling.
Yeah.
300 days a year.
He'd be passionate
One
too.
guy.
He'd be passionate passionate too, if that was your gig, just to fly around with a cup. I'd be
I feel like
passionate
I'd be
about
a
it.
little tired. I don't know. He's been doing it for years, the same guy. 8 or 9 years, I feel like.
Yeah, what a gig.
I don't know. I
Kind
mean,
of lack of focus.
Well, and like the other,
It doesn't talk back.
I mean,
You get curious everywhere.
but it's only 35 pounds, so
It doesn't
you
talk
know.
back, but everybody else attacks you with it. They like come up to you, they're like, oh, is that the Stanley Cup? Can I touch it? Can I take a picture of it? He regularly opens the case randomly, just he's having dinner and he has it with him. So-
Now with the band, I
Horribly
can just say
hard
here.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah, just take it. Might as well. It's already broken.
It's already broken.
Horribly tough job.
I don't know. I don't
I'm in the wrong business.
know. Maybe so.
That would be a personality.
Yeah, I listened to a whole.
Well, and like the other championship trophies, you know, throughout that 300 days or so, it spends one day with each team member, personnel. So that cup could talk. It's got some stories, I guarantee you.
Oh, it
Well,
does. I didn't know that.
It's on its own. It's just out
I
there.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't
Interesting.
tell you there's a recording device.
Right? When they engrave it, they put a bug in there. It started out as just the cup, and they just kind of progressively added to it through the years. Yeah.
Sounds good, I'm sure.
First team to win it. Anybody?
Oh, good grief. Probably Canadian. Toronto.
It was a team from Montreal. It wasn't even the Maple Leafs or whatever they are now. 1912.
I bet it looked a little different then.
It was just the cup. Just the cup.
Didn't have that big dent.
Yeah, no kidding. So what was it, 1912 you said?
Yeah.
To 2022, no damage.
No, it's been damaged before. Yeah.
Oh, that
It's
guy's
just not the first 5 minutes into the presentation. That's all.
job just got easier. Doesn't have to be so careful anymore.
Yeah, it's
Just
already-
taking it around.
It is trying to force it in the overhead bin.
No, it got its own plane seat. It was strapped in and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, not anymore, it's not working.
Somebody tucked it in bed in a hotel room too, and probably read it a bedtime story. I don't know.
It's probably worth it, so.
Wow, and one of the flights survived.
Yeah.
Over all those years.
Yeah, they said that, he did say it had been lost once or twice, always found, but it
Yeah.
had been in the wrong city. He was in one city and it was in another city.
A little nervous.
He was nervous.
There's one job. It's that.
Yeah, you had one job,
You
man.
can't say it ran away.
Yeah.
At least it's a short position description.
Don't lose your numbers.
Yeah. Put an AVP out and the description of it. Is this for real? Yep.
I'd like to call your boss.
Yeah. We're missing something
I lost
here.
the cup.
Yeah.
For one job.
David. Good morning, Commissioners. David Adams, EMS Ambulance Director with our budget presentation. So the introduction of Riley County EMS ambulance budget request includes all personnel, commodity, contract, and capital items for the EMS ambulance department. This information is based off historical data, current trends and pricing, as well as projected costs due to increased call volume, operation of a new station in North Riley County, as well as the purchase, repair, replacement of existing and new equipment. The total budget request for 2023 is $5,198,165.57. So I apologize that the wrong letter got uploaded to you, and we'll get that correct. So in personnel, the increase in costs are attributed to the following factors. First, the mid-year pay increase of $550,635.76. And thank you for that. That was very, very big, and our staff are very appreciative. The North County staffing of $598,806. I want to point out the original projection was $750,000, and this also includes benefits.
And then step increases that we're asking for $148,492. The capital, commodities, and contractual combined, the total budgetary request for the 3 Cs is $348,225, which is an increase of $22,400 from the 2022 budget allocation. Most notable cost increases are attributed to rental services, which are things like our oxygen and the tanks and those, and just our use of oxygen has gone up as our call volume has gone up. Ongoing increase in medical supply costs, an increase of $10,650. They've been going up about 5 to 8% the last couple of years. We actually, if you recall, last year we were asked to reduce those a little bit. Increase in pharmaceutical costs is $2,000, and then an increase in capital outlay of $4,000. And there's still a little bit of other money in there for just some small items, some office supplies for a few $100s here or there, type of thing. Patient service fees captured. Riley County EMS anticipates fees collected from insurers of $1,254,324, which is an increase of $122,000 from 2022. This change is associated directly with the increase in call volume, as well as an increase of out-of-town transfers. We do anticipate an increase in Medicaid reimbursement as approved in the 2023 Kansas budget. However, at the time of this writing, we cannot provide an anticipated dollar amount for that. And then just for your general knowledge, service fees captured are based on several variables: call volume, patient's insurance that was billed, distance traveled to the appropriate facility, as well as the level of care that was provided. And then this next part of the book. This book is accurate, has been to reflect the changes that were made with the recent restructure. So the only difference is at the very bottom, the very end. That number is incorrect. And that had to do with recalculating some steps and such that we did kind of late in the game. We'll get that updated today as well.
That number is accurately reflected in your.
Yes, the handout is accurate.
No.
Answer any questions that you may have.
Just in looking at the numbers, it's usually you've got a paramedic and an EMT on the ambulance.
Correct.
Right, each one.
Yeah, typically we keep historically, and this will change with the restructuring.
Yeah.
Historically, one ambulance on each shift had 2 paramedics. And we did that. If we had somebody call in sick, we could split them up and continue to keep our level of service consistent without paying overtime, extra overtime, and things like that. But yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And then what's the AE?
Advanced EMT.
Yeah.
It's an advanced life support level. So it's kind of a halfway between, or a little more than halfway between the EMT and the paramedic.
Okay.
So some people, some services use those almost exclusively. Employees will do that so as to prepare them for paramedic school. Or they're just not, they can't think that they don't have the ability with family and such to go to paramedic school, because that's 18 months and pretty intense. So they do this.
It's kind of a step.
It's a step and a half. Yeah, it's a step between.
And it may be obvious, but it's also different pay grade because.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
Why such the anticipated increase in overtime?
Well, because we went from not having many PRN to adding those new positions. So that overtime is scheduled overtime.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that is the scheduled, not the unscheduled.
Since they're a 24/7 service. That's
Well,
why
I understand that, but
Yeah.
there's
So
goes from 50,000 between 21 and 22 to, I'm doing my math at almost 400,000.
Which we have spent, but it has been unscheduled. So
Right.
that was part of that intention to
Okay.
reschedule.
Yeah.
So we have been spending it over time, unfortunately.
Right.
But budgeting had been always trying to budget for PRNs to fill, and then we've been spending it on overtime.
Okay.
Because those are those unscheduled hours. So now we're going to plan to spend this amount in overtime, but actually the number will be less than what we have.
Okay, that was gonna be my.
Yeah.
Okay. that
We
was
will
gonna
just
be
see it more
my-
accurately in the budget.
It's the main reason for the restructure.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is the main.
Absolutely.
But it does, yeah, if you don't have the background, the number is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, that was my question too, John. It was just seemed like we had approved the additional personnel and the overtime was supposed to go down, so.
Yeah, the unscheduled, correct.
Yeah, and that is what we have intended as well. That is our intention. But it also is more accurate because we have historically have had overtime. So we have budgeted for these PRNs and we have not been able to fill that.
That's why you're actually going down by a number of 2 on
Correct.
the personnel side, because, there's in the
That's right.
14 there, as we discussed last week.
With the paramedics, you had 10, but that wouldn't be, because you got 3 shifts, right?
Correct.
And 4,
Let me catch where you're looking at.
right, south there. Yeah,
Oh, from 10 to 18.
yeah,
So,
it was 12 before, which makes, like I say,
right,
3 shifts, 4 stations means 12. But
right. Well, because
we've had 10.
That's because we added 2 AEMTs.
we had, we had to put the AEMTs somewhere. And so we put them in that category, even though we pay them as an AEMT instead of
Okay.
adding another line that was there. So,
They
Because
were
their
covering,
staff is-
they were basically covering with that,
Yes.
other 2 paramedics.
Mhm.
Because then we had 3, okay, because that makes it 12, and we had
then it's
3
6. Mhm.
last week, and it was,
Correct.
and now 3 more.
And then 3 more.
You know,
Yep.
You got to the 18, okay. But the EMTs also went up that. Oh, because you took,
Yeah, because
We took down all the PRNs.
Because we
So you have
reduced the
PRN
PRN, so we
24,
added
10.
3 to the North County and then
Bottom
3 to the restructure, so.
well, I thought you added 3 paramedics to the structure.
Right, but, I see what you're saying,
Not
I-
EMTs.
I think from the adding of the 3 floats from earlier this year, I believe is where those other EMTs are. Mhm.
So technically, there's gonna be 3 and then 3 paramedics as part of that.
Correct.
And actually, probably from a salary perspective, that number would actually be less because they're not gonna.
Yes,
actually
yes,
hire
it
them,
will
they're
be.
not actually working in that
Mhm.
location just yet,
Yeah.
which is kind of question.
Since this department, it's really hard to compare apples to apples this year compared to history. I think it'd be beneficial, because we've presented to the commissioners bits and pieces at a time with these transitions. If Elizabeth and David could put together a commission agenda report to say holistically, here's what we've done. We have a lot of these questions, and it has been hard to keep track of. It's a huge change, and so
Yeah, but
I think
restructured, changed, and the numbers have
if we could
changed
do that,
completely.
put it on one card, just addressing the staffing changes that we've done for the last, almost seems like 2 years. And so it is significant and it's difficult to follow.
So
And kind of-
basically what the proposed operation structure will look like moving forward.
Right.
Yeah,
kind of break
and
it-
what it was.
Not
and
just
what it
numbers,
changed
but kind of
to.
maybe break it down a
Well,
little
'cause,
bit.
yeah, I mean, Greg made, so you have a paramedic and an EMT on each one and with them, so that, yeah.
With the numbers of personnel and the financial cost as well.
Mhm.
Would that be beneficial?
Yeah,
Commissioners?
like I said, just.
It is a
numbers
lot to
rolled
keep track
down.
of. Trust
I
me,
like that.
their schedule is the most
Explain it.
difficult to follow
Oh,
of
yeah.
all.
Oh,
Elizabeth and even Cindy Valenti and I prior, and Josh and David have spent hours.
We sat down when Elizabeth and Michelle came over, we had to sit down with them and show them our calendar, our schedules, and this is how the schedules plot out and such, because they had no idea, so.
I said, you guys can do that, and the sooner the better.
Okay.
Just be sure it's complete.
Mhm.
Questions?
Questions, so.
Catherine, do you have any questions for me? clarified both the questions. Absolutely. Helped a lot. Thanks a lot, guys. Next commissioner, you have Jerry Longer at 10:20. Oh, they won't start until 10:20, Jerry, just so you know. Thanks, Josh, for coming. Appreciate it. See y'all.
Take care.
Have a good long weekend, guys.
Oh, yes.
Or maybe.
Somebody's
Somebody's got to stay behind on it too.
Yeah, there's never an extra call.
No. Yeah, this weekend in particular.
Rock, paper, scissors.
I get my hand off the.
Yes, I was saying. Fingers over there.
Yeah.
Now that is much, right, different than specs.
So, make sure if you fly out, you'll be able to fly back in.
That's the hope. Oh, versus, yes.
That's-
Okay. Yes. Thanks, Christian.
Ooh.
Tell Ned that, you know, we think the new title of Bright Mercury would be good.
I'll send him
a
an
ring to it, you know?
I'll send him
A
an
positive
email.
spin.
We try.
It's catchy. It's catchy, isn't it? Catchy. Right.
Spend a lot less on ink, you know, printing the title with me as well.
Three commissioners? Jerry?
I'm ready.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the commissioners. Pleasure to be here this morning. I assume you don't expect me to read this into the record of any kind. So what I'm trying to do is I'll just kind of work down this piece, but just kind of hit highlights of what I think might be useful, reinforcing. Again, my name is Jerry Laundrie. I live at 511 Queens Road, just line of Kansas. In April, I was invited to become the next executive director of the Flint Hills Regional Council. As has been shared with me, I think somewhat indelicately, the council decided to increase the dues last year. I think it's fairly say unilaterally from 60 cents per capita to 90 cents per capita. So the request today is that you would consider rejoining the Flint Hills Regional Council. I hope I can give you some reasons and rationale why it might be worth investing. And the amount, so the request is actually for $13,202 for fiscal year 2023. as I say, I've been there a short time. I'm still trying to learn the acronyms that go with the job. And so what I tried to lay out for you, just kind of maybe a little bit what I bring to the table that I think can kind of maybe move the council forward. I was in the mid-90s. I was hired as the executive director of the Kansas Electric Utilities Research Program. Utilities decided instead of having each individual utility have its own research function, they pooled their monies together. And so it was and their expectation, I had no experience in the utility industry. I was not an engineer. They just told me to go out and leverage this money and expand their research pool, which we did. We increased in 3 years, we increased it by 60%. With a research pool of $5 million. And probably one of the things that I was so proud of is we were the first organization to publicly begin to measure the wind resource in the state of Kansas. So that was largely through grant funded activities. So I think that shows an ability to kind of strategically think about where an organization wants to go, what it wants to do, and then be able to find resources to kind of bring those projects forward, not relying solely on the money that's provided by the members. Had a fun 12-year experience with the Civic Council of Greater Kansas City, CEO led, privately funded, to look at issues related to economic development, quality of life in the Kansas City area. I think relevant to what the request today is, I mean, what I saw were the heads of major corporations in Kansas City who saw value that wouldn't necessarily apply directly to them, but they saw that it could be have positive impacts on the community, and that would benefit the companies. So from that experience and conversation I had in the Flint Hills, I think there was an opportunity to kind of do some, I'll say, fun things, some interesting things. I've been asked more than once what the Flint Hills Regional Council does, or what I guess in my instance, what I'm planning on doing. I think one of the most important roles that we can play in the larger cities as well as the rural areas is to listen, to hear what people want to say, to no longer tell you what you need to do, but to listen what you want to do and respond or react to that. So to listen to action, give what we heard, and then hopefully to celebrate a lot of wins, a lot of positive things happen in the region. I can't stand, as I say in the text, I can't stand for you today and give you what all positive things happen relative to Braddock County in 2022. But I can just kind of say that I think there's been some positive things happen recently. That might give an indication of where I see us going. I know there was some concern in the past about the financial stability of the organization. I can tell you now, I feel really good about where the organization sits financially. We have and I give Christy Rodriguez the credit for that. She managed to get 3 entities, the Manhattan Chamber, the Potawatomi Economic Development Group, and then the City of Junction City to agree to provide the match money we were required to provide for a grant. So that gives us a lot of for our EPA, for our EDA grant, for Economic Development Administration grant. So that was a pretty strategic and good way to free up some of the cash challenges that we had. If you want to see, I've got a resolution that the board did that shows we've taken that $115,000 loan down to $58,000 since the first year. They've been paying $3,400 a month in payment on that loan, where they only required to pay $1,500. I actually feel like we will have that loan paid off by June of next year, freeing up again some resources, monthly resources that we don't have. So I think the loan issue has been pretty well strongly resolved. And I think 3 things have happened that I want to talk about real quickly. I have it in that text, but I'll just real quickly cover. This was not my doing. This happened before I came. The group submitted an application with the Environmental Protection Agency. Got $500,000 from the Environmental Protection Agency. We were allowed to take 5% of that money for administrative expenses, but it's largely designed to take. There was a phase 1 effort which involved Ogden, Manhattan, and Junction City to kind of move the phase 1 project forward, and then to move the phase 2 project. We need not only moving those forward, but also it gives us flexibility, I think, to look at between 15 and 17 other brownfield areas that might exist anywhere in the Flint Hills region to try and begin to develop plans for that. I'm not a huge advocate for plans only, but but I think this will put us in the queue to go after monies from the EPA to actually implement some of the plans. And the thing I want to emphasize is that this planning will be only at the request of the community. So we don't kind of jump into a community and say, okay, we need to fix this problem. The community is asking us for help. So it's not us telling us or the EPA or anybody telling the communities what to do. One thing that worked out pretty good from standpoint, we will be receiving a $360,000 grant from a private foundation. I can almost tell you who it is, but I needed another couple of days to get before they're allowed to say publicly what it is. But it's to look at home-based. What we've proposed is to look at home-based businesses to first of all trying to spend the first year. It's a 3-year grant. Spend the first year trying to figure out what these home-based businesses need, where they're lacking that we do, and then given that, the next 2 years would be funding programs and actions to respond to the needs of the home-based business community. That's large. That's going to be a rural area, hopefully a high impact for rural areas. But it's a nice grant to get, and also a substantial amount of the money we get to retain for general operating expenses. The last thing I'll mention from a financial and hopefully a kind of good ideas moving forward is we received funding through a connection I had with one of the other regional councils to hire a grant writer to work with the communities to begin to see what role we can play in the community development block grant world to help the communities in the Flint Hills Regional Council, as well as to listen to what the smaller communities want and then try and, I'll say, chase the funds and money that can help them fulfill what they want to do. So so they're just kind of, I mean, I feel like there's momentum building, and I would love to have Riley County be a part of it. As important as the money is, we really just need the capability to say, this is a united region, we're moving forward, doing things collaboratively, we're doing positive things, and we feel like we're going to have a huge impact on the region. So I would be happy to answer your questions you might have.
Yeah, I don't have anything. I kind of had a meeting last week. Stuff. Questions that I had.
I know I'm asking you to trust me, but but at the same token, I grew up in Kansas. I'm a Kansas kid. I actually played football against Lucky High in that old football stadium they had along Fort Riley Boulevard, which was one of the coolest places to ever play high school football they ever had. So I really believe that rather than be retired right now, I think my role is to try and make good things happen in the Flint Hills, and I hope you guys will be a part of it. Thanks.
Did you have any questions, Catherine?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Next commissioner, and third.
So we're going to play middle school football in that field. Maybe you.
Told you.
Wonder you're feeling old. Huh? You're old.
Finally, somebody agrees with me.
Yep.
I apologize first. I was unaware that I had to go through this process. Greg had initially filled out the travel request form for himself and the 2 staff that would be attending. And I just assumed, I had no idea this existed until after I booked everything, and I found a form in Greg's files that said travel request, I would say travel request authorization, so I apologize. So the fees that are actually on here are actual fees. This is expenses already pre-registered for everything. But basically I'm requesting to travel from Manhattan to Boston, Massachusetts for the International Association of Assessing Officers Conference and Workshops. The conferences includes accredited workshops for continuing education for both my RES and my RMA. I will be traveling with 2 other staff members that are attending the conference. Round trip airfare, the 5-night stay, only the meals that are not covered by the conference. Most of the meals are covered, but there are a few that are not, and the registration fees. So At this point, I request approval for the out-of-state travel, total expenses of the 244620.
We already approved the other two.
You approved Greg as well and the other two staff members, correct? They're just not specifically for Hannah, so the expenditure's been approved.
Okay. Yeah, I was confused on that. So, okay.
The only difference in the expenditures is Greg was the former president of the International Association, so he did not have a registration fee for the 2022 conference. I do, however, that was the only difference. Any questions for me?
Motion, commissioners?
I was just doing some math in my head. It takes me a while.
The
Gears are turning just very, very slowly. Sorry. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the out-of-state travel request for Riley County Appraiser University.
And I'll second. Been moved and seconded to approve the out-of-state travel request. All in favor?
Chairman, sign please. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Next, Commissioner Darrell E. at 10:35 on CIP amendment.
I didn't get a chance to look this entire packet over for this morning's meeting. So parts of this one for CIP change. Vehicle. We've seen a lot of those.
This one's due to the state contract. They're all already spoken for, so we can't go that route. So that's the reason for the change.
Well, can we get it?
2023 are all spoken for. That's what limited they had available.
Are we gonna actually be able to get it at this price? You can actually
As
get
far
it?
as we know now.
Yes,
Okay.
I actually called them last week, just to make sure, at the end of last week, double check.
Okay.
No call the week before delivery. If you want it, it's another 5,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried
It's
about.
been a
That happened to
process, let me
a
tell you.
couple other pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
So it's anybody's guess, I would say.
Charge as you go.
Say my name somewhere.
On business.
Excuse me, Catherine?
Yeah.
She asked if you said her name. She thought she had heard her name.
Oh,
I was in the other room. I thought I heard you say something about me. I'm still listening. I'm still here.
voted affirmative on that out-of-state travel request?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
That brings back memories.
Okay.
Catchy.
Very.
No, actually, it was somebody walking with a boom box, really.
Old school, back in time.
Yeah. See, I'm really old. Really old.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, I think we're at that time.
Yep.
Morning, commissioners, Darrell E., Budget and Finance Officer. We have a change in a CIP for a car. Another sticker shock for you.
Okay.
It had been approved for 26,000 last year, or last November. Yeah, so it was last year. But during the transition, not everything was completed. And this year's allocation for the state contract dollars has been utilized, and also for next year. So we are still trying to get a new traverse for the appraiser's office, but it has gone up to $37,200, which is $11,200 more than you originally approved, which is why we're back today to seek your approval for that change.
This is not an elaborate model. It doesn't have any great things on it. It's just a basic model that we always use. So again, it's just, again, because the state contract has been utilized already this year and next. There may not be any.
So no more vehicles.
State contracts after that. Yeah.
I was gonna say, we talked to the dealer who said that they haven't even put out the state contract pricing for the 2023 yet, but they've already bought out all possible contracts that are there. And General Motors is stating that they will very likely not continue state contract pricing because of the cost of vehicles. We are going to be taking one vehicle to Purple Wave, which was mentioned in the original. Yeah. So I assume with the price of the vehicle shortages, we may potentially get more at auction for that vehicle than initially anticipated.
They may be rating bikes and.
And just, I'll tell you, I'm gonna come back for our Suburbans, our SUVs, because this exact same reason, state contract, they never, if they open and closed in the same day, because, so, we're able to get a couple, but, it's at an increased price. I don't remember what that number is right off the top of my head.
Suburban's increase will probably less. Yeah, but just commissioners, and I know it gives you a headache, but this is just another example, as is David's gonna be another example of why we're seeing extraordinary increases in budgets overall. I know it doesn't make the decisions any easier for you, but the costs are the cost, and there's nothing we can do about it on this
Cost aside, we're gonna have to look at a different option at some point in time. You know, if we need to, we're gonna contract with a local dealer. I mean, to ease it up.
That is a local.
We are, ours is a local dealer as well.
Yeah, there's no dealer gonna give you a good price on a
Well,
car.
no. I'm just saying,
But you mean it's
you know,
county
once,
as a whole?
yeah, I mean, just a one time, you know, this is what our price is. We've got it in stock or we don't have it in stock, so we can quit doing this.
Even used cars right now are skyrocketing.
Well,
I think it's gonna be interesting on the motor vehicle taxes going forward because their prices are going up. What's that going to do on taxes on, appraised values?
There is no dealer in the nation that'll give you that kind of deal right now with the cost of vehicles.
Yeah.
Lock in a cost and hold them to it. They're not gonna lose money.
no, I'm just saying, when you need a vehicle, have it worked out where you can go to the dealer and, you know, we're not waiting for 6 months or 8 months. We're not getting $10,000 extra in those costs while waiting. Either you have it on site and we can buy it, or you don't, and we don't.
If they don't.
They don't.
Well, and if they don't, then that's fine, but we don't have to keep banking on one price and then waiting 6-8 months later, and it's a third of a cost difference.
Your option right now is to keep what you have and run them longer, and then increase your maintenance cost.
Well, but that still may be cheaper than this every single time, some instances.
Well, one of your biggest, you're gonna have some major supply chain issues coming up as well. You know, we've heard of the chips and what's going on there. They're not out there. And some of that goes through China, who has production capabilities down to 35%, 36%, because COVID hits one of their plants, they shut it, they're done. Then when they come over here, we're getting ready to have strikes in the West Coast ports and also the rail system in July possibly. Just to make you feel better.
You thought I was depressing when I get up. Bundle of good news today.
Sorry, but I tried to keep up on some of that stuff. That's what it's gonna be.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
And the other issue is because my daughter just lost a transmission out of a vehicle. You can't find a transmission in the US. So you're not going to speed up anything by continuing the old ones and maintenance breaking down, because then you're months out on it just even receiving a part. And so I understand your frustration, John, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we're gonna have to use our equipment a little longer or something, and so.
Yeah, I remember last year we just had, I thought it was, I think it was the Fraser that one of the vehicles broke down. Somebody was sitting, it was never planned, but they had trouble.
Is that the one that's
planning.
going to Purple Wave?
I think that was planning.
Yeah, it was.
Had a truck that left one of our people stranded in North County. We had to get it. That's, we're trying to get more out of the truck.
And we're not replacing all of, I mean, this is one of the oldest.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I want to keep instead of auction it.
I mean, plus the new one. It'll be a backup for.
Easy to go get the new one. Go get the people that are stuck in the old one.
Well, something's got to give somewhere. It's, you know, I'm really concerned about how our taxpayers, you know, they get it at home, they get it at the grocery store, they get it everywhere. And now we're going to have to ask them for more money. And that's like really tough. And something's got to give on our budget somewhere. I don't know where.
So on that note, commissioners, you don't have to approve this. I mean, I heard you talked a lot about cutting costs and doing these things. I mean, here's an opportunity to not do it as well. That's why we bring them to you to make those decisions.
What year is it? This
I think the original document said it was like a 2005 or 6. It's one of the, like I said, it's one of the oldest vehicles that we have. We need these vehicles to do our job. I mean, that's the bottom line.
how many miles on it?
Yeah, that's.
The original CIP, it might have had that information on it.
They don't have the original.
I don't either.
Think about our appraisers, 2005, how much they're on the road.
This is the only SUV that we have one that I can't remember what we have in our fleet, sorry, I can't speak to that right now. I think we had an SUV historically, but this would be, I think, the only SUV we have for rest of cars. That's for multiple people we won't be getting another SUV, this would be the only.
I mean, I totally appreciate where you're coming from. I mean, it's a hard decision to make, and this is, you know, an $11,000 increase over the original.
And I know, commissioners, you're seeing sticker shock on individual departmental requests and appropriation requests, but just this one request is a 43%.
I know, that's more than a sticker shock. That's just an
So I'm
absolute red
just being
flag.
serious. I mean,
Yeah.
if it's true, you know, then there's opportunities for you to not increase, but there's potential increases down the line if you don't do it as well. So I know it's difficult.
Well, what about have we shared enough vehicles between departments? Has that been done?
We wouldn't, with our staff and the vehicles that we have, they all sometimes can be out. So sharing the vehicle would be impossible when we don't know exactly what days we're gonna be in the field. It's weather dependent.
In actuality, Catherine, yes, previous appraiser Greg McHenry during elections, many times we would use their vehicles because we deploy we call field judges, about 14 of them. And we use all of the county vehicles that we can find. And so, yeah, there is sharing opportunities that go on throughout the year. And even if I had a conference and couldn't get one of the other vehicles, to call Greg or Public Works, John, frequently I'll contact John Ellerman because clerk's office has no vehicles and say, hey, can I use your vehicle? And if it's available. So yes, it is commonly shared among departments if available.
If available, yeah, well.
I would just reiterate that I'm using one of the cars because we have a vehicle up north. So, you know, I checked it out and then I have to return it for about 10 days, 2 weeks here in a few weeks. Because it's checked out by somebody else.
Probably because of us for elections, I would bet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's happening all over.
And just so the commissioners know, I mean, we do utilize our resources very wisely. The department heads work together. Yeah, trust me, all of us are seeing it in our day-to-day as well, the increase in cost and everything that Catherine said. We're all feeling the same thing. We all go to the grocery stores and buy gas as well.
Yeah.
Tank $52 last night with the discount.
I filled up one truck and got lawnmower gas and spent $181 last week.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Hence why also the request for employees as well.
Why don't you cheer everybody up again and talk about the strikes that are.
You're kind of a downer today, Daryl.
I'd rather talk about the activities this weekend, you know, the fireworks and the parades and the stuff that's coming up this coming weekend, because there's a lot going on around the area. Randolph has a fire program, supposed to be pretty decent this year. So I'd much rather talk about that stuff.
This is for an SUV or a Taurus. I thought you said Taurus.
It's a Traverse. So it's a,
That's a small.
yeah, it's a mid-size.
It's kind of
SUV. It's not
CRV
a-
or.
It's an SUV.
I like an Explorer.
Yeah,
It's a
small, little
small-
smaller than
it's small.
Explorer.
You know, I approved this, so it probably is what it is, but we probably in terms of equipment, vehicles, whatever isn't approved currently, we need to start looking at and thinking of a different direction of something.
Yeah.
I can't just go with the idea, well, it's just cost, we just have to deal with it. No, we need to look at it differently moving forward.
And the other thing, after we looked into buying these, but one is a year or two old, except I think their prices are probably crazy right now. too.
Well, and that's kind of where I was going, is not necessarily with used, but that is an option. But is there a cheaper style vehicle new to buy? Well, I know a Traverse isn't a low end vehicle. My wife drives one. So there are lower end vehicles, and it's a pretty good sized vehicle. So
I can just say and speak from personal experience, last year in 2021, I bought a 2017 Chevy Traverse myself and paid $28,000 for that vehicle. So, I mean, that's for a 4-year-old SUV, and it's much worse now. I mean, just that's.
yeah, my point is now though, a Traverse is 37 is an Equinox 2930. Those are other decisions that can be discussed.
That's what we're gonna look at internally in our department, because we have for 2 SUVs, because we have one that's got 86,000 miles on it. We may just ask for one and then give Josh my Explorer and then I have a car, a smaller, because I could get by with just, kind of like the Impala that I'm driving now. I need that radios put in it because I can't hear what's going on. But we may come back and do something like that and just say, hey, we're gonna bid this and just do the one.
And what happened to all the leasing options?
Same thing. It's just a vehicle shortage everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, if you have one appraiser driving an SUV, is that correct?
It's not for one appraiser. It's for when we go out in multiples, when we go to classes. The SUV is not. I mean, one appraiser will drive it in the field. Essentially, it'll be used on some of those properties where you need a more ground clearance, where the cars aren't going to some of the rural areas, which is part of it. And so it's not just used by one appraiser. It's used for courses whenever we're going.
It's an all-wheel drive vehicle as well, which also increases your cost.
Yeah, I would guess though, because I know Traverse as well, as you do, I doubt they're taking it off road.
No, they're not taking it on road. It's you've got those dirt roads.
Yeah, but there's no ground clearance problems in dirt roads. It's something
Pulling
a
onto the
vehicle can
properties,
usually go.
Pulling onto those properties, it can be a challenge. That's all I'm. Sorry.
Well, I guess my question is, how many large vehicles do we need in a department, regardless of going to events and that kind of thing? I guess that's my question, and something that needs to be looked at.
Well, if you're buying it for events and stuff, or you're traveling someplace, I mean, for the many events that you're going to, you could rent a car from Hertz or Enterprise or something to accomplish that. And that would still, over the course of the year, be cheaper than the total price of a vehicle. But
well, and for events, remember, we did purchase years ago that van, for the lack of a better word, minivan, basically for the commissioners to go to events, and it's always available for everyone to use. It can be checked out through our office, and so that's what our office uses typically. But all offices can use it for multiple people for when you need seating for 6.
Yeah, so, it's not that, we need to take care of our people and what we need to do, but I think as all people have to do is kind of, tighten their belt and say, well, what can we use? How can we consolidate a bit? And I think that's my issue.
We can always table this at this point. We can go back and look at other vehicles, other options.
I think that's the direction I think we need to head on that.
Yeah, I'd like to, because, I haven't been here that long. I'd like to really see a consolidation of what we really need, and do we need to buy something in addition to? I just would like to see a breakdown on all the departments together, and figure out how we can work together more.
Daryl, if you could put together a commission agenda report of all the passenger style vehicles that we have per department for the commissioners, and then commission agenda report. And then also a list of all those that are on the requested CIP list to be replaced currently.
Okay.
And also, and send an email to all department heads. Do you in the near future being 1 to 2 years, see the need for a new vehicle?
Right, and maybe the
Kind of get a picture.
And maybe the usage, too, like, I don't know if you have those numbers, who uses what, when, and, can it be
Some
consolidated?
mileage breakdowns if all possible too. I might be a little difficult.
I get that.
Yeah, that'd be good. What we currently have in stock and mileage, and if we're walking to the floorboard or not.
And then when you do that commission agenda report, bring this back to the board to consider.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I feel comfortable with that, so that's good.
So any more questions or needs?
That's
Or
it. What?
Okay.
Sorry.
Wait till I can get everybody to, okay. Gonna make a motion that we recess as the Board of County Commission and reconvene as the Board of County Health.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to recess as Board of County Commissioners and convene as Board of Health. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm here with a request for approval to fill our FEP coordinator position. FEP, again, is the Public Health Emergency Preparedness. This is the coordinator position that's budgeted already. It's already under budget. Through KDHE, we receive a grant for local FEP and also regionals. This person would be in charge of both. This position has been one that's been in existence for quite a while in the health department. I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. So it's definitely a needed position, full-time, permanent position. I've not changed the position description at all. So it is the same as the last time. Any questions about this one?
No, that was gonna be my question, if there was any changes or anything that needed to be updated, since a lot has changed since it was originally open, so.
I think a lot has changed, but the majority of that has been due to COVID, and we are transitioning the position back to its duties pre-COVID. It still has some COVID responsibilities, but there are plenty to do outside of COVID as well.
Then I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the request to fill the PHEP coordinator position.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the request to fill the PHEP coordinator position. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everyone sign, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Julie.
Commissioners.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and make another motion that we recess as a Board of County Health and then reconvene as a Board of County Commission.
I'll second. Been moved and seconded to recess as Board of Health and reconvene as Board of County Commissioners. All in favor?
Aye. Next commissioner, you have John Ellerman. That's passed this time.
If you're ready.
Yes.
Okay, John Ellerman, Public Works. I am back to request transportation funds from the CIP for the Tabor Road Bridge. When I left here last time, we were looking at $255,000 for replacement of the bridge at Tabor Valley Road, North Tabor Valley Road, and Call Road. The going back and looking at the funds that are available that were set aside from federal fund exchange monies that we received from KDOT were put aside for transportation projects. In there's a few projects that are earmarked for other funds and has a remainder of like $691,700 unassigned for use on transportation projects, and that's what I'm asking for today. The bridge has been under design for a couple of years. That was used CIP, regular CIP monies for that. Design is about finished. Waiting on a permit we just got the permit for that. And now we're waiting a little bit of easements to do shoe flies around the bridge so the residents to the north and west can get out. Bridge has a hole in the one corner of the deck that's been plated over, a wooden superstructure or substructure, 32%, 33% sufficiency rating, so it's pretty rough shape. It runs a pretty decent drainage area. Typically probably wouldn't be this much, but the bridge is really wide because it crosses diagonally through the intersection. So it's about a 40-foot wide structure.
This is one he brought to you.
Monday.
Yeah.
Monday.
And we just hadn't had this formality passed of activating it. CIP.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got a question about how the CIP is portion of it. Questions?
I don't. That makes more sense now that we know.
Yeah.
How that process is going to work and what's there and available.
I'll remember sometime.
Fair enough. Well, I remember we talked about it when Leon was here 2 or 3 years ago, and the number was pretty close to the same. So they must not have done much with it, I guess. But.
Well, this was based on steel quotes that as of yesterday hasn't changed too much yet.
Yeah.
Talking to the vendor, we will send them out for official quotes again.
Okay.
To make sure, we ask more than one company for $4, but that includes concrete or steel for the concrete and driving pile. And our crews will build the bridge.
Ready?
I'm good with it.
I couldn't tell if Catherine was talking, the thing was on, but.
No, she's unmuted now.
Oh,
I'm here.
okay. If there's no other questions, then I'll go ahead and move to approve the $255,000 for Public Works to replace the Tabor Valley Road Bridge.
I would second that.
And moved and seconded to approve $255,000 for Tabor Valley Road Bridge. All in favor?
Hi.
Joan, please.
Thank you very much. My next item is to come back in with the updated proposal for the North County EMS station. With the removal of that training room, posh room from the design, it brings the scope or proposal down to $87,875. Still looking at $325 a square foot. It should be about $107,000 for that room off of the estimate for the building. But don't know that until we start. Depends on how expensive Dave gets them. building.
Nicely done.
Yep.
Nicely done.
Didn't even see that bus coming, did you?
So much so it turned your face bright red. One of the things I was curious about too, in terms of trying to kind of equate the actual allotted cost through ARPA here, is we get to the point where we actually need to outfit the building with, appliances, furniture.
FF&E.
Why is that such a hard word? All the things that we'll need inside, if we can't potentially do that through CIP instead of maybe ARPA, might be a discussion. I'm not saying today, but I'm saying when we get to that point, yeah. So,
Yeah, you'll need to let us know because our intent has been ARPA funds at this point. So
Yeah.
if you want to change course, let us know.
well, I'm just talking on that stuff when we get to the back end of it, but everything else is fine. So 'cause we're gonna hit that ceiling.
And just so you know, in supplying, the services now and stuff all related to North County, we are running it through ARPA. So I just want the
Yeah,
commissioner to
right.
be aware of that.
Yeah, some of that material has been purchased
Uh-huh.
with a temporary location.
And that's all actual equipment based to
Yes.
provide the service. It's not necessarily like a refrigerator or stove or beds or something. I mean, it's,
Correct, yeah.
to me, they're kind of different in the overall. Okay. I don't have anything else at this point in time. Guess work continues to get the two properties that are needed for that. So looks like we're moving along pretty well. So
I just, when we talked the other day about the two lots, did you say that is already got wastewater on it and a water supply?
Yes. Yeah, there's water and sewer
Okay.
out there.
and electricity is going to be easily dropped in at that spot too, isn't it?
Gotcha.
There's
Okay.
a line right in front.
Yeah, that's what I
assume
thought.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just needed that clarified. So,
And with the reduction of building, the parking lot's gonna be
Well,
short.
we may be able to do this in one lot. I mean, that's something that we'll take back to, obviously, to Anderson 9.
Oh, to revise
And
it,
to
to
see
see
if we can do it. We may be able to do it in one lot.
I say for 15 grand with everything stubbed out there, you might as well get both properties, and that takes care of everything down.
I'd
the
be
line.
concerned with your bigger vehicles moving in and out of the bays,
Right.
because ambulances aren't small.
And they're not going to get any smaller as we move forward either. And then somewhere down the road, 10, 15 years, 20 years, past all of our times in our positions, then there gives a little bit of growth going room if it's needed. So,
Absolutely. I'm just
because I don't think if you were to drop all the utilities in there, it costs way more than $15,000 to do at this point in time. So
yeah.
but kind of a blessing in disguise. So let's see, I'll go ahead and move to approve the proposal from Anderson Knight Architects for $87,875 for the North EMS station.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the proposal from Anderson Knight, $87,875 for the North EMS station. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sure, fine, please.
And I did want to also give thanks to Anderson Knight for redoing that proposal pretty quickly.
Is this?
Yep, right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It says- has
I know,
Anderson Knight right
it's
above
kind
it.
of
It
odd,
looks like.
I know, I thought the same thing.
Okay.
They did on that one, found an error on the original posting. No. We will email one to Catherine. I'll talk through it. Save you $570,000.
Get the right time.
We're past.
Yep. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, Commissioners, Early again, Budget Finance Officer, bringing you some of your final budgets, so we can really get diving into them. We'll start with the capital improvement budget. Down at the bottom of that, the 4990s, a lot of that comes from already items that are on our cash flow list of capital projects we have set up. The second one is reserve funds that we announce every time. Part of the project you just approved, $691,000 from the Fed Fund Exchange Program. That's also part of your extension capital rental and the radio reserve fund as well. Also at the top of that had a hardware reserve. I think that was for the radios, $738,890. And so this is just part of the capital improvement fund itself. Going forward, all of our big capital projects, which I'm sure we'll be diving into. Go. The next one is the bond interest fund. I just handed out a new one for that. If you look at line item 2290, the debt service principal, and 2305, the interest, I had actually combined some other payments that go on one of the other pages. The lease payments into that line item. This is strictly the bond and interest payments then. Is that new number of 310,221, and the interest is 72,825 for a total of 383,046. That will reduce the total amount 570,977. So where are we starting to reduce your expenses? Of course, all the revenue comes from taxes and stuff collected. I don't think there's anything else special in that particular budget. Bond interest funds. The next one is the Riley County Police Department. Not sure if you've seen the letter, but we did receive our request from them. Their budget was passed, and our portion of that is, well, $5,016,000.
Yep, that's correct. What percentage of increase from last year is that? I didn't get the full one until this morning, so I hadn't had a chance to try to break it down, so.
I don't know, but we'll have that on our summary sheet, how it shows each department and appropriation. I don't know that off the top of my head. Okay. But we will have it for you on that sheet.
It's going to be pretty good.
I don't remember what theirs was last year.
I think it was like
Oh, there it is.
4597. He's doing on his phone, so I don't have to. It's pretty.
Everybody pull out the phones, get the calculator. We'll come up with an answer. It seems like that's about 8 to 9%.
Yeah.
8.762794544230 to be exact.
You have a phone number there or an abacus? I'm starting to wonder.
Abacus has been faster, probably. Did not go up.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah, because of that, I didn't go up much on the rest of the budget, on their line items. And because, a lot of our costs for the last year and this year haven't hit the budget. So since we've been under budget, I'm leaving it kind of flat on the rest of it. It's gonna be hard enough this year. The next one, the insurances. I added in, I believe it was a little more than 10%, I believe. Increase on that one. Because we've had a lot of damage this year. I have talked to the company and their actuaries have said that they weren't expecting much of an increase, but our property values have gone up. We've had a lot of damage. We've had a lot of car wrecks, damage to vehicles and stuff this year. So I went up both on the property and the liability portion of things, and a little bit on other insurance as well. We're going to get hit.
And we have to remember, we will be getting 2 new buildings at some point in time, definitely the North County facility, that's gonna be an addition to our policy. Plus, depending on whatever stage the construction of the new EMS ambulance facility, we'll have to have insurance during that time, so those are increased costs.
So after talking to them, appraiser's office, I'm hoping I actually put it up high enough, but I don't want to go too high because our budget's gonna be tight. Next is general services. The employee operation, the comp pay, that's for retired employees. Went a little high this year because of a couple of cases that happened, and a little higher than one year before. We retired then. But we haven't, I've already talked to Elizabeth, we don't have much this year coming up that people have said.
That's the key. That's the key.
So, we're gonna have to keep doing their work. Nobody else gets to retire. A lot of the others, I did bump up, I believe, in the indigent attorney fees because of an unknown there. We have talked about it a couple of times. Some of the rest of it, water's going to go up a little bit.
What's building space rental?
Would be the RCPD substation, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
There, yeah.
Up there.
No, wouldn't be that. Wouldn't have gone up triple.
Yeah.
That
It would be in there.
It'd be in there, but I don't know what else was gone up in there.
You can check on that
Yeah,
contract.
let's check on that one.
with
Maybe we can
GJ&L.
reduce another spot.
That doesn't come up due again until later in the year. No, we already did that one, didn't we?
I don't remember.
It's $895 a month
Yeah, I think those numbers don't match.
times 10. That wouldn't.
Well, the dues and memberships, I know, I double checked that one. It went up because of payments to Howleys and to the Kansas Association.
Counties.
Yeah, that was 15,000 each.
Yeah.
So that's gone up quite a bit. And the other is just for normal little dues and stuff. Then, so part of it, yes, down below under your capital outlay, we actually broke out the ARPA funds, which is that 7,209,348, and what we're using on the CARES funds, just like we're still using for jury selection. So you might remember the Wareham Theater, we have to spread people out. And also you'll have another thing later today, jury box, I believe it is, for $8,000 construction. So we have some things that haven't been completed yet out of those funds. So
That was a change in this form I suggested commissioners because it was all lumped under other capital outlay. It was just vague to what it was. I was like, okay, what's other capital outlay at $7 million? I just think it's a lot cleaner and easier for people to understand. That we separate it out, and then it also lets the commissioners know how much we have in there. In those respective funds.
From CARES, we didn't have any from CARES, or was it somewhere else?
Didn't have any what?
It's already been, it was already used.
The CARES. Says that,
The year before in your
Right.
budget amount.
Oh, no, it was under, it should, it was under other capital outlays where it was before, so really where you should have it's under other capital outlay for the previous year. He just separated it out, that way it looked consistent up here, but it was under just the top one, other capital outlay.
But we still have that much left in CARES.
We do.
You said more of that.
And then, of course, we had that 250,000 each year for the stabilization.
That we may have to discuss later. We'll see.
And you can
Yeah,
see
we
that,
won't be
that's why
surprised.
the difference on the increase, it's just, we always, the starting point,
Yeah. So that's in there for your starting points and stuff.
which is all these budgets are.
That is true. Your economic development funds, your beginning balance course, the transfer of the bond and interest, one part there is the Kanza project. That's the 52-123. And then, of course, the rest of those are the other capital outlay items.
The 132.85, that,
The Riley County General Economic
Yeah.
Development.
that's just what we add to it every year.
That's your
typically.
generic in case the chamber or
Right.
city comes and says, we have this great deal and you guys think it's something we need to do for economic development. Yes, the money's available.
Okay.
And also I wanted to mention, commissioners may want at some point discuss further Flint Hills Regional Council.
Yeah.
So the sooner we know that, the more clear the picture is as well.
Well, I assume when we
But
get
we
the
did not
original
assume
work,
anything.
I was gonna say, when we get the
Mhm.
updated
Yep,
worksheet,
we'll
it'll
go
be
through
on
those
there, then we either
individually.
take it off or
Add.
add.
Or leave it or add, I guess I should say. Decide to rejoin.
So it won't be on that sheet, but if we choose to, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I need. to know.
We're
Okay,
currently
that's-
not members. Yep, what
This
you
is
get
currently-
presented will be just like
Okay,
this,
gotcha.
based on those numbers.
I think that was 14,000.
It was 13.9, yeah.
So, yeah, that's up to you. And okay, that was all of those. Now that we have them all, we'll be working with the budget planning as well group, consolidating it all.
Okay.
For your, we should have that back to you next Thursday.
Looking at those two budget summary sheets, we just got the unaudited ending cash balances for 2021 yesterday.
Right.
So I've seen them. We have not got to dive into them, which is the integral part of those beginning balances on that second page of revenue. That way then, based on the expenditures and revenue, we know what the difference is, which gives us our ad valorem tax and number of mills.
Yeah.
As a starting point.
Are we missing anything else? Is this, did we get all the outside agencies? I know we didn't get one from Big Lakes, or at least presentation, but
She did hers early on,
And
really early.
she didn't, it wasn't on the screen. Daryl's gonna update you on that though,
Yeah.
when we go through those, but yeah, she has presented it.
It was really early. She was like 2 weeks before, May.
oh,
just
she did
short
that
of
when
it,
she
right?
came in to give her update.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she
right.
didn't give, but she said, oh, it's going to increase 3%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't ever see it printed, maybe.
Yep.
Well, I can send that.
Yep,
her
email
copy
that.
Yeah, please.
with that updated sheet, and it does this updated sheet as well.
Okay. And we have, did I say that a tentative agenda budget work session next Thursday? Or is the following Monday?
There's, yeah, of course, full look at as well, I think. And of course, if there's anything else you want us to look into, don't hesitate to email it to me. Like fleet cars.
It's a mess.
Any other questions at this point?
We'll get there in due time.
I might actually mention, Shiloh helped me help find that earlier goof on the first sheet. Give credit where credit is due.
Next, commissioners, you have remark.
Yeah.
Any good movies this weekend, Sam? Huh?
Like some videos, I think some of them come out, so, yeah. That's good. It's entertaining, that's not brain for me. Oh, that's Thor next.
That's what?
That's Thor next week.
How do you really feel, Sam?
Listen, I've been personally attacked for my recent reviews.
Oh, you have?
Saying I hate everything. It's like, sorry. I really like the black phone that just came out. That was really good.
What was it?
The black phone?
Is that the one you said was a horror movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into those, Sam. Those are a waste of time.
I didn't really get that.
I think it's time.
See, if you'd have just agreed with me, Sam, on Top Gun, you wouldn't take so much heat. I can be your protege and help give you advice.
I'm starting to get your thick skin tonight. That's office.
There you go.
Yeah. More movie.
Sam, I told you early on about, Dave early in the morning would call you Sam Honey. Now all the staff is calling you during the day Sam Honey.
It's Honey Buns now.
And I even heard Honey Buns too. I wasn't gonna go there.
Mitch was like, we got a review of black film coming from Sam Honey Buns. And I said, oh,
I heard that.
Now, and she was like, yeah, they've been calling me that for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. What is black film? It's a horror. It's kind of like a horror movie.
Is it? I just heard somebody, I heard a couple different references, but I haven't seen it. That's wonderful.
It was supposed to come out earlier this year, and like, now, I saw a trailer for it last year. Then a week later, reviews were out for it. It was supposed to come out in February. Then it got delayed till this last week, and it was like, no one had. I didn't see any previews for it after since then, but I really enjoyed it. It was really good. Based on a short story by Joe Hill, who is Stephen King's son. Oh, he's got some pretty good stuff.
Okay, I did hear something about that. Yeah, okay, that's.
Yeah. Well, I would see it at the theater.
Thursday will be interesting. Next Thursday will be interesting.
Well, between that and Top Gun.
Yeah.
But at least it's not.
On what?
Well,
Budget,
that's
that's-
right.
Was that one?
It's weird for me because I'm
Joker.
I'm that used to us almost being done with it at this point, and
Yeah, we just got those numbers from the auditors yesterday with the T. I mean, we can't put that sheet together until we have those.
I saw that one. That was fine.
We got everything we have at this point on there, but that's not the T. Get that all important number that you guys are interested in,
Ties.
or maybe not interested in this year.
I might go with the latter on that one. I don't know. We'll see.
I got
4 or 5.
Sam
You got, since we got a few minutes, you got a few minutes to talk for it. Okay.
Or where my peanut stuff.
Oh, hey, and I'm gonna get into my Scooby Doo's and
There you go.
I've got one of those.
Peanuts or something?
No, it's more along with Scooby Doo line, that cartoon. I'm trying to think, I think it's Bugs Bunny on it.
There's a bunch of.
Oh, yeah.
That's.
John wears a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
Looney Tunes. There was kind of this protest when a previous place where we worked, commissioners expected him to wear a tie, so he went with Looney Tunes and kind of.
When I was at K-State, Fridays was fun tie day. Because back then, everybody wore ties original day. The original days, but later on, they went casual.
People love their jeans. It's all a mental thing because you can't say they're cooler or more comfortable, really. People love their jean days at work.
Yeah. I think slacks are probably more comfortable.
They are more comfortable.
I don't
There's definitely cooler this time of year.
Thought, other than Monday and Thursday, I don't have any conversations. Of course, right now, they're short. Most of the time. Sure.
Yeah, people wouldn't recognize you. They see me dressed at home. My wife keeps the shorts that I wear, she keeps threatening to throw them out there so bad. Oh,
They're just staying.
elastic's ripping out. I got holes and stains.
So they're coming.
Those.
I've had that. I've gone in some more offices here. Not on.
Yeah.
On a different app, and then.
Those ones, they are bad enough. I won't wear them in public, but.
No, I don't wear them.
They're
No, but I mean,
perfectly
but when
fine.
I'm coming, just. You know, who can tell us, who can tell them? For me. Oh, right. So I said, this is my disguise. I wear Mondays and Thursdays.
Wife says, I'm gonna throw them in the trash. I said, I'll dig them out of the trash. Go buy you some new shorts.
Those are the ones that are great to paint in, work in the backyard in.
Yeah, they're my, just before I, yeah.
I just want to let you know one time.
Okay. They are pretty bad. I'll give them that. They are bad, but they're fine.
See some of the pro athlete movies, where they have, this is my lucky pair. And they're nothing but a thread.
So they're my church shorts. They're holy.
Talking to my daughter, she wears her holy jeans. Ready for church? Wearing your holy ones.
I give my kids so much heck about those, and they were real popular. They don't wear them much anymore, but they used to when they were popular. So, you tell me you didn't pay for those.
Oh, I know. That's the, that's,
So I've got some jeans like that. I'll give you.
But they have to pay the extra $30 for the whole.
So you can get half off of that. What's the deal? You get that at Goodwill?
What somebody saw. Should make that nice, but
Yeah.
And he was tried.
Yeah.
It's good, fine.
It's not right.
Still bigger than that.
Taking Tylenol or something for the pain.
And they gave me some stuff, and I took.
That stuff makes me so sick. Ugh. I cannot take, my body cannot handle that stuff.
To me, it does do more than it's.
No, me neither. That's why I just go off. I don't take whenever they give me
But
the
it's also
hospital. I just go straight to extra
on
Tylenol.
top, a switch between.
My MO with that stuff is they give it to me at the hospital, by the time it's done, it'll drive me home. In the driveway, and I just go straight to extra Tylenol.
So.
That stuff, that stuff makes me feel nauseated.
Yeah, this one doesn't have what my keyboard does. It just actually says, I can actually say.
Yeah, this is just the option, not supposed to use it, then, it's just to remind me not to.
You
use
keep
it.
getting, grabbing stuff and moving this too
And I have
much.
started.
But I know it's funny, but now I'm not scared about one.
Oh.
Playing down. Well, we have both IBMs and Macs.
That's it. Yeah, it'd have been impossible to tie.
Yeah.
And it's different.
That's helpful. Just help us get the fun.
Yeah, take it while you can. I would agree.
My daughter still likes her Macs.
They're pretty loyal. I mean, people are loyal.
Yeah.
Couldn't go through
I have
Word.
Microsoft Office on. You can do a converter. And I have those on both Macs. Because they have other
Oh,
projects.
yeah, for sure.
But the
It's
print
hot
doesn't
weather.
work as well. If you print from tomorrow, a Mac.
Be free.
Microsoft.
That's good. That'll be
That's
nice.
stuff that
Joke in my younger.
That yellow stuff.
It's
My 20s when I was
Sticky
traveling.
it is.
And they
I
had
did
it,
a lot
it's
of
like that-
school
they could have sure.
I've had it too many times. Yep.
They
Always
they
that was
just-
summer.
Bathing in it.
Don't touch anything during the 9 months. of school, and then you
What
go
the heck's
to
they doing up there?
It's just they did it.
and then walk into
Yeah.
it, and it was just
My fingers are
thousands of times.
sticking together.
I remember my first trying to get acquainted and make all the work. It's like, just, you know, it's pulling hair. It's frustrating. Boy, they were bullet. They get a really good deal in schools. So, yeah, it's hard not to work. Wamego, ours are on a 3-year rotation of a buyback program. They're bought back at like 40% of the original cost. Really actually get a pretty good.
See, that's kind of what we do.
Yes. It's become the way.
We go through so many iPads.
Yeah. All right, well, good morning, Commission. Here for an approval of a purchase of funding from CIP of a previously approved as far as the funds go. But this purchase is for our IBM I-Series server. That's currently the terminology used more in the past, the AS400 as it was called. This is one of our highest, most critical pieces of hardware that we have here in the county. This particular piece of hardware runs most of our tax accounting software, daily used and absolutely daily used in the clerk, treasurer, appraiser's office. Mission critical for what we do on a day-to-day basis in taking care of the county. probably been one here in the county. I don't know how long.
Since
That'd be
they transitioned from the AS
the
36.
36 to
Since they
the
made that
400.
transition when these came out.
And so there's always been one here in its presence and when it does, a workhorse machine, you put it in, it goes, I forget about that it's there, kind of a thing. And that's why it's such a critical piece to use. And it's also necessary because of our application we use from our vendor called Comtech. That's who our tax and accounting provider is. November of this year is when we will be out of warranty on it. We need to move now on going forward with the purchase. Again, as you've heard many times, lead time on equipment is why I'm here already. We've got a 3-month that they're saying to get the hardware in, and it will have to be in. We'll do some tentative scheduling based on when we start to hear some ETAs on arrival dates. Also, once we move forward with, we'll schedule the migration of the data and all the applications and so forth to be done after hours or on weekends so that we do not foresee any downtime to any of the staff. So it is with 2 vendors. The 2 vendors are preferred vendors that we've worked with yearly and as well as in the past when we've had to replace the AS400. The hardware, which totals $33,817.41, comes from Sirius. Sirius is a CDW company. They're one that we have other contracts and do other purchases with. Very good rapport with them. And then the migration, which is getting limited in companies out there that do this type of work. There is one here in Kansas. We already do work with them for some websites, our tax search, parcel search, and so forth. And that service will be done with, they are called Aumentum. They've had many names in the past, Rich, you know, what an SSI and some various other ones as they've been bought out and moved forward. But we still work with a lot of the same people that were there. Even when I was working for competing companies, they have people there that I still know. So quality companies, quality staff, I know the people that will be doing the work. What I am asking for is your approval to move forward with this purchase. Money is to come from CIP. For a grand total of $37,817.41. Daryl's here. We made sure that I was going about this right and included Rich on emails as far as CIP. So what I believe you have is you do have all of the proposals in your packet, but you do have the CIP authorization that could be signed so that we would be able to move forward with this project. So my recommendation that we do move forward. And if you would sign today, then I would sign the 2 individual proposals and I would have them in hand so that we have the orders. I have them queued up and ready to order the equipment today, tomorrow, if if we can move forward today on it. So I'm asking for your approval to move forward with the purchase. Any questions?
I wonder if we can go back to big chief tablets like, you know, when we started.
Those ledgers were big, them and Excel spreadsheets was what I started on.
So unfortunately, I had experience there too. When I came right out of high school and college, I went to work for Lockwood, and that might be a name that Rich goes, yeah. We were a ledger printing company originally before they added some software and elections. So yeah, I've been up there and the big printing machines, and we're kicking out, 3 foot by 4 foot type things with giant, binders on it. And I mean, it's a pencil you big around is writing on. So I know that business too. Been there, I've done that one as well. But I would rather we didn't. If you don't
County's ledger was that thick.
Yeah.
There's all the departments that.
I think I remember you had a special desk with that only sat on there.
All the departments that that are under county general now each had their own fund and their own mill levy.
Yes.
For each department.
When you have to have binders and you have to have tools to take them apart to add spacers as it gets thicker over the year. I mean, we'd have to do training and HR involvement there. And
yeah, you opened it up. It would be this big.
Yeah.
Opened it up.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Gotta put an extra I-beam in
Yeah.
underneath it to hold the weight. Okay, I don't have any questions.
Not that I'm old, Christian.
He didn't say anything. He's in the newspaper business. He's fixing to buy out a newspaper. Okay, well, I guess if nobody else has anything, then I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the purchase price for the IBM iSeries server and from Sirius and
Momentum.
Thank you, Technologies for the total of $37,817.41 from CIP.
And I'll second that. And moved and seconded. Purchase the new server with monies from CIP. All in favor? Aye.
Chairman, please. Towards the bottom on the right.
Oh, sure you can still get it.
I checked yesterday.
Yeah.
That was yesterday. You never know.
I didn't say anything about.
Don't
today.
jinx yourself.
I did
Don't
say
jinx yourself.
yesterday. Yeah. All right.
We're down. That's what. Usually at the office.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, just racks and racks of things. This, oh, and I guess this was kept the database.
Oh, yeah. Seen those too.
So we see him down there. It was, I think it's in their old court.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's pretty neat. Judge, Lana, how you doing? All right. Thanks for coming over.
Thank you.
How are you?
Not too bad.
How are you doing, Mike?
Good. It's really nice outside right now. Not too hot yet.
Yes, it is. I've been out. It's too hot for me already.
Hey, Rich, he just loves summer, especially the hot part of summer.
I love when summer's in the rear view mirror.
All right. Good morning again. Thank you for making space and time for us on your agenda this morning. I think our portion will be pretty brief, but I'd be happy to stand for any questions that the commission has. This dates back to the latter portions of 2020. So if my memory is right, Commissioner McKinley, you may not have been here when this was taken up, or Commissioner Fauquier for that matter. I think the submission largely speaks for itself. So I don't want to get too much on the edges of that, but with the characteristics, concerns, risk mitigation of the pandemic, our tight little jury boxes weren't conducive to holding jury trials. Potentially, we considered expanding them in all three courtrooms for reasons I don't need to go into. That wasn't pursued, and funding was
returned to the county. And we only pursued one of the jury boxes. They ran into some troubles along the way that would allow the plexiglass to be inserted and used. And so the banisters or rails weren't finished out. We're at a point where we'd like to get that done, and the contractors made space available on their busy schedule to get it done here before too long, if approved. But we like to go ahead and finish that out to match the rest of the courtroom, and I don't know if safety is quite the right word, but to prevent anybody from falling in the absence of those rails. And then better for utilized for a better jury experience, as well as IT is going to put in the monitors that will be useful and has been adopted by a lot of courts across the state or nation for that matter. I'd be happy to delve in deeper, like I said, but that's the gist or nature of the request.
I was here
Yes.
during that particular time, so I was kind of surprised when I saw this, because I thought it was actually already done. So I get what you're trying to do here and why. So it's not an issue. And we just went through the numbers, so the dollars are there as well. So I certainly think that this is a good thing to pursue at this point in time. Okay. So I'll go ahead then and make a motion that we go ahead and complete the jury box reconstruction, and the installation of new walls in the Division 3 courtroom as originally planned.
And I'll second that. And move in second to approve the installation of knee walls using CARES funding. All in favor?
Aye.
Chairman sign or at the bottom.
We appreciate your support on this specifically and continued support overall. And belatedly, I would add the materials were completed and are in our attic, so it's a matter of the labor and installing them at this point. So hopefully that will be a smooth process here in the middle of July.
Okay, good deal.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lana. Appreciate it. Want a copy? Actually, both of them need signed, I guess. Bye, them. You'll get us an original back. Thank you, man. Have a good weekend. Sorry about weather.
I don't have anything else. Kind of long morning, I guess. She's not on there.
Oh, she's gone already, huh?
She,
John, I can get 1 second.
she adjourned early.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if nobody has anything else, then I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adjourn the June 30th, 2022 meeting of the Riley County Commission.
I'll second that. I move in second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye. See you next Thursday.